Muy buenas noches, bienvenidos a su programa Al Ritmo del Arte. Hoy, en esta noche, tengo manteles blancos, tengo el elenco de Not for Sale, así que vamos a hablar con ellos un poquito y vamos a hablar Spanglish. So the show is primarily going to be in English, and for those of you who need translation, grab somebody that knows Spanglish. So, how you doing, guys?
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here tonight and coming out to promote Not for Sale,
Yeah.
which, I heard a lot of good things about. But first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, your name. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure.
So start.
Okay, my name's Frankie Davila. I play Ray in Not for Sale.
My name is Daniela Tomei. I play Nancy Torres, the alderwoman.
And my name is Seamus McMahon, and I play Mark.
And, well, we're talking a little bit about the play, right? We have the flyers here and everything. So tell me a little bit about the play. What is this play about?
Well, it deals with Division Street. Now we're basically talking about Division Street here, Paseo Boricua, in between the flags. Gentrification happening in Division Street. Basically, I myself own one of the last bodegas on Division Street, and we have some, well, how would you call
Newcomers?
newcomers to the neighborhood, Caucasians coming to the neighborhood, and try to stir things up because they like things their way. But I guess it deals a lot with what happens when trying to coexist with the newcomers coming to the neighborhood, and just what the old schoolers like myself, somebody like myself, Ray, that doesn't deal with the internet, he still has a flip phone, and things like that.
Where'd you find one?
Well, no, I've been had it, but I grew up in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I was all years. I grew up on California. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Oh,
Field
yeah,
Museum,
yes,
everybody.
we need to see the flip phone,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Right by Sue the
Awesome.
Dinosaur, we
Frankie's
have
basically
Frankie's
playing
phone.
himself.
And then I apologize. I really wanted to start out by asking you a little bit about yourselves, how you guys became actors.
Okay. Sure.
And then, but we got the 411
okay.
on the play,
Yeah.
which is awesome. But Frankie, you want to start out and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with the theater?
Again, I was with a theater company. I started back in. I went to Columbia College. I wasn't doing too good in school, so at Columbia College you could actually get a degree in the performing arts, and it was something that came easy for me. So I was there for a little while. Then there I met up with a teacher who directed me towards Latino Chicago Theater Company. With Juan Ramirez and myself and his brother Michael Ramirez, we basically helped re-energize that company. We had an old firehouse on the corners of Damon, Milwaukee, and North Avenue. And at that time, it was an abandoned firehouse that we took over. We were all young, we all resilient, and just had all this energy, and these bums were living in this old firehouse, and we just kicked them out and took it over. And Harold Washington, rest in peace, we went to a town hall meeting where Harold Washington was at, and we kind of took over the town hall meeting saying, hey, we're a local company, and we want this firehouse, and he helped us get it.
Cool.
So it was
sweet.
it was a great time, and we got the firehouse for $1 a year.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, and we did theater there. But the interesting thing about we were doing theater there at Estilo Carpero.
What is that?
El Teatro Carpero, una compañía de teatro. We could Spanish.
Yes, the Spanish.
Okay. It's basically a compañía de teatro that out of Cuernavaca, Mexico, that did tent-style theater, carpero. There's more like in a circular. Out there, they have a lot of little plazas, I guess, and we basically were doing theater. They were, and they did this very cartoony kind of over Commedia dell'arte kind of style of theater, and we loved it. And we told them, hey, we're going to go back to Chicago and steal everything that you have.
So cool.
And we did. We kind of anything that showed that we did. We fitted it for that style of theater. It doesn't matter what play. It wasn't written that way, but we made it that way.
Cool.
And we had fun. We were all young, and we were just doing crazy theater at the time. And so just one thing led to other, and we were doing great stuff there. The firehouse, had a fire, and basically the whole thing caved in, and we kind of took. It really stopped things in its track, and a lot of people kind of started going to L.A. here, there. I stood around and try to see if they could pick it up, but it never got back on its feet after that. But again, it was a great time, and I took a lot of time off. I raised my kids, and now I'm back in it. And this is like my third show after like being out of the picture for like almost 18 years now.
And what is the difference that you've seen from theater when you did it at the beginning and now? What's the difference?
I think there's a lot more people that are just really know the politics, that are very informed politically, and within our company and the groups of friends that I had, there was a scattered few that did that. But now it's like everybody's just and technology is just more at a push of a button. Whereas when we had to do research, we went to the library and made copies and brought back stuff. Now it's just at a push of a button. So it's just, and it's just really, I just know that the kids really know what they're doing more now. They're very informed.
Wow.
Wow. Daniela?
Yeah,
oh,
we are.
yeah. And I just have a question. Did you guys perform in the fire?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just
It
curious.
was part of the play.
No, right? No, I just wasn't sure if you just rehearsed there or was like
No.
actually
We did
like
many
a
shows
theater,
there.
a little theater.
We did like 8 seasons there. We were there
Wow,
for a good
wow.
10 years, and
That's
we
amazing.
did like 5 show seasons. Some of us even lived there because they had it was an old firehouse, 2-engine firehouse, so there was rooms
so
upstairs.
cool.
So I was living the dream basically, the artist life. So while we were running a show at night, we were rehearsing another one during the day, and again, it was a really fun
amazing.
time. We toured a lot and
Cool.
So
met a lot
great.
of friends and just
Wow.
doing the dream.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. My parents are Latin American from Chile and Costa Rica. So I did a lot of theater, like as a kid, community theater, in high school, a Shakespeare program. And I think that the love of doing theater and the arts basically came from my parents they're not artists, but they love the arts. And my dad also is like a storyteller. He was always inventing stories and telling us stories. And so I think a lot of that idea of play and pretend came from that. And also we were a little bit isolated in the sense that we were a Latino family. My parents are native Spanish speakers, but we were there weren't that many of us, It was through the university and stuff, so we had some contact. But I think that you kind of learn to create your own little world. Like we had friends that weren't Latino, as a kid, you were friends with anybody. But yeah, fortunately there was a lot of good theater around. And then I went to New York when I was 19 after my freshman year of college and did an acting program.
So did you know, sorry to interrupt you, did you know early on that you wanted to be an actress?
I did, but I sort of like Frankie, I stopped for a long time because I went back to college and I wasn't in love with the theater department in my college, so I stopped doing theater and I went into more education and I did music and other art forms, and then I kind of came back to it years later and I was like, oh yeah, I miss this collaborative art form. And then I ended up going back to New York to do a 2-year conservatory program to train, and then stayed and have trying to act and be involved in theater in some capacity since.
And did you do more in the Latino side or more in the Anglo side?
Being in New York has been great because there is a very strong presence, like in Chicago, of Latino theater. I've been involved with INTAR, which is one of the oldest Latino theater companies. It's still running. That Max Ferra, who, rest in peace, he started it almost 50 years ago, and I was able to be, they had this sort of ensemble group that was kind of like training, and I did that for 6 months, and then I've done some readings and workshop performances of shows, some that are in Spanish or translated to English, and stuff like that. So there is a very strong scene of Latino theater in New York, and I've
that's
done
good
other
to
stuff
know.
too. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Sure, yeah. I'm from Evanston, so
Oh.
can't say I'm really from the city, I
City, yeah.
guess. But
city of
yeah,
Evanston.
yeah. I was actually born in Chicago,
Yeah.
though. Okay, like in a hospital in
Oh,
Chicago.
okay, there you go.
You know.
Okay, so
that's
you
a
are
big
Chicagoan,
point, yeah.
okay.
I live in the city now. But kind of like Daniela, I grew up in a household of theater and art lovers. I can remember being a kid and my mom and dad singing like Sound of Music in the kitchen, you know, and we would always watch, you know, those musical movies or something like that. And my sister and I would actually do little shows together in the living room. And we just loved doing, like, you know, Friday night we'd have dinner, and then, you know, me and my sister Fiona would just go and do these shows with my parents. And so
Yeah, we did that too.
yeah, right.
You know, it's great to hear stories like that because I wish I had that environment because
Yeah.
when you know I had a typical dad, it was like, "Oh, eso no paga nada." You
Yeah.
know, that doesn't pay you anything. When are you going to get
Yeah.
a real job or
Yeah.
and it's like theater. What are you doing? And both parents were like that, and so
Yeah.
coming, I guess, depending on the era, but back then, you know, it was like
I think it's more of a Latino thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, I think it's
Yeah.
more like, you know, we didn't cross the border. But you're probably from Puerto Rico, right?
Right.
But my parents, like, we didn't cross the border for you to be a starving artist. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
well, it's different playing as a kid than saying, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
going to go into
That's
the
right.
career."
That's
So
true.
I definitely
That's
had
true.
all of
Yeah.
that,
That's
like
true.
at some
I
point.
didn't mean
Yeah.
to
Well,
but-
yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like I'm blessed that my parents always were super supportive and
Yeah,
still
that's
are.
great, yeah.
You know, but you do get those questions at like family get-togethers or something like that. Like, oh, so like you're thinking to be a lawyer? You know, like your dad or something like that. Like, how long are you doing this? You know.
It's a phase.
Is it just a hobby? It's
Yeah,
a hobby.
it's a
That's my
hobby.
dad. It's a hobby.
Something I do on the side. I do some community theater
Yeah,
on the side.
on the side.
But yeah, so I got involved in that, and I started taking classes at Piven Theater, which is up in Evanston, and started by Bern and Joyce Piven. And, you know, John Cusack came out of there, Joan Cusack, Jeremy Piven, and Aidan Quinn, and Shira Piven, and really just kind of formed, you know, what it was. Like, I love the attention of, you know, acting and doing a show, but like getting into the classes and kind of starting to learn the techniques and all of that. I really was formed there. Did it through high school, went to Loyola Chicago, and, you know, did theater there, and really just kind of fell in love with, you know, theater in the city.
Yeah.
And went to a lot of shows, you know, all over the city. And I was blessed to have professors that, you know, had the connections to get me in, you know, to some of those shows. So yeah, I'm kind of just starting out, so to speak. I graduated in 2016. So yeah, so I'm just starting out. I'm just beginning the journey of the hobby, as they say.
It's the hobby. It's a hobby.
The hobby.
It's
The
hobby.
Yeah.
Great.
What has been one of the difficulties in your career as an actor that you've seen or something that you experienced?
Well, I think it's just the day in, day out of constantly looking for the next thing.
Yeah.
You know, I got the advice one time where, you know, doing a show, doing a TV show, that's like, you know, a little bonus add-on. Your job as an actor is interviewing, you know, of going to all these auditions and finding those auditions and, you know, constantly working at getting those. Because some days you feel really burned out from the day job that's supporting the, you know, the acting. And you don't feel like, you know, having the energy to go perform and give part of yourself to a role. I think that's probably the toughest part, for me at least, is just the constant, you know, having to hunt for the next thing or, you know, continually auditioning when, you know, you get rejected most of the time. That's really a large part of the job.
That's definitely a challenge. And also just like, you know, you love acting, you love performing, but you're not always going to be acting as an actor.
Right.
So that's very hard. That's very frustrating for a lot of people because you get like antsy and like you want to, you know, you need to practice your craft. So people deal with that in different ways. They take classes, that always helps. or have like a group that you read plays with. A lot of actors end up becoming, doing other things besides just acting that's
Yeah.
still related to theater or film or whatever area they like writing or directing, because it enables you to have a little more control and a way to participate without just waiting to be cast by somebody else. And like Seamus said, it can be very disheartening and a tricky field to go into, because there's no one set way.
Yeah, there's no one path.
And you 99% of the time you're told no when you do audition, but then the more you audition, the more yeses you'll get.
Right.
So you have to have a thick skin and also be able to be very vulnerable when you're performing or when you're playing those roles. So it's
Right.
it's a very tricky way.
It's tough balance.
Tough balance.
Tough
yeah.
balance. for
Like you
sure.
said, it's everybody has their own path. With me, I just find it difficult not being able to audition as much as I want to. Because
Right,
my day
that's
job
true.
just doesn't call for it.
Right.
I can't ask for a day off tomorrow. Hey Frank, can you come? Can you be there Tuesday? No, because
Right.
I'm working and I
Right,
can't tell my
that is a
job.
challenge.
And then they say sometimes I would sneak off and take a long lunch, but then they say if you're doing good on that audition, can you hang around? No, and you want them to tell you, can you hang around?
Right.
Because then that means they saw something in you.
Right.
But no, but I'm gonna lose my day job if I hang
Right.
around.
What if you get called back? Who's
Yeah,
the next
Right,
day?
right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so I turn a lot of stuff down because or agents that ask me because I just don't I can't I don't have the time or the capability
Yeah.
of doing so. I do a lot of theater like this, urban, and you audition. I mean, you rehearse in the evening and your shows are in the evening, and it's great for
Right.
me.
Right.
It's difficult. It's also that fear of, you have the stable job.
Right.
And it's a
Right.
fear of losing the stability of that job
Right.
to go after a dream. And you're like, but what about that doesn't happen? And I can't eat. And then
Exactly.
what,
Exactly.
Right. Right.
We
And I-
just saw Guadalise said. She
Oh,
liked
Hey,
it.
hey.
Hey, Guadalise.
And I think the funny aspect of that is sometimes you get lost in the day job and you get really into
Exactly.
it and like,
Right.
I'm like, oh, why am I getting so,
Right.
upset about this day job or stressed about this day
That's
job when it's not really what I'm trying to
Right.
do?
me
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe
Careful,
we all
this is
feel
live.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's part of life, and it's part of balancing those two worlds that we have.
Right.
Right? It's
Right.
in my world would be the painting aspect, but you guys in the theater. Now let's go a little bit back to your play.
Sure.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your characters.
Wow.
And what's going on?
Well, I
happening?
can jump
What's
off
happening?
of what Frankie was just saying because
Yeah.
he's kind of like the core of this story. He
Yeah.
plays Ray, who he's facing property taxes are going up, and he's not sure what to do. And he runs the store. He's struggling with the store, and I play kind of like his best friend. And I've become an alderwoman, so he tells me, he asks me for help, basically, to help him. And I'm
could-
dealing with my own struggles too, but that's kind of,
Because that's what basically
Yeah.
the piece is talking about is you have families that have been there, for generations that finally can't afford to live there anymore. You have their kids that can't afford to stay there anymore. The property taxes are just skyrocketing, and then the water bills are skyrocketing. It's like they're slowly pushing a lot of old timers out, and their neighbors aren't there anymore, and people just don't know what to do, and the ones that are moving in are they come in for the feel of community, but then take away that whole feel by not being a part of the community.
Right.
So it deals with that struggle of just trying to hang on, but then in the end realizing I can't afford this anymore. So you see it ever change, the Paseo Boricua right there on Division Street, ever changing. And luckily there's groups like the PRCC, Puerto Rican Cultural Center, the museum on Sacramento and Division, and that have bought property to Paseo Boricua Arts building that will be, within the years, will be built. And it deals with just with artists, loft, and just local artists and a theater, whereas urban theater already has a claim on the space, so they'll have their own theater. But they knew that's coming years down the line, and bought a lot of property to try to stabilize it and maintain it. You know, one of the lines in the piece is like, what will happen in 4 years? Who will live here? You know, in Paseo Boricua. You know, we'll be living somewhere else, but coming there to you know, for the Fiesta Boricuas and things like that. And will it still be there, the fiestas?
Yeah, and piggybacking off that, I basically play, you know, the people who are changing the neighborhood.
You're the gringo that comes in.
I'm the white people that come in to change everything and turn everything up over. But basically, Mark and his wife Susan find this shop that's, you know, cheap and affordable to them, and they're like, great, we're going to put all of our eggs in this one basket and have this wellness store that one doesn't even really fit, you know, in this neighborhood. And on their end, they're really struggling to kind of figure out their, I don't know, their role in the community. And I think there are parts of the show where they're kind of more standoffish. And that's really, I don't want to give things away.
It's basically
You gotta come see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're coexisting with
Right.
those that are coming in, and not always like, hey, well, you're going to yell at them, fight with them, and every time you see a white person, is it going to be that kind of way?
Right.
Whereas so we're trying to teach the youth,
Right.
yeah, that's not the way. It's
Right.
try to figure out a way, a
Right.
long-term plan with a long-term solution. Basically.
Yeah, and to, you know, for the white people coming in, it's really all about listening, you know, of you know, being like, I'm coming into this community. I should learn about this community. I should know, you know, what was here before me.
Right,
You know,
right.
instead of it being, you know, that I start my whole new
Right.
business, I'm going to shut it off during the Puerto Rican festival, and just kind of wait until the neighborhood changes.
Right.
He's basically talking about stuff that actually goes on. There's actually bars and small restaurants that when the Fiesta Boricuas are happening,
Right.
they just shut down.
Oh.
And they don't even want to be there while it's going on, because they just don't want. And that's not being a part of the community.
Right.
That's not us.
Agreed.
If you don't support us, we're not going to support you.
I think for me, like, the play is about, these different groups trying to coexist in one space. And this, this specific play is about Humboldt Park, the Paseo Boricua, that whole area. But it's so pertinent that it could be also about millions of other places. It could be a neighborhood in New York City. It could be
Right here in Pilsen.
Pilsen,
it could be
yeah.
in
Right
Pilsen.
here.
Yeah,
We're
It
right
right
here in
It
Pilsen.
could be in,
Right here.
in Israel and Palestine, in different details and situations. But like, it could be in Santiago, Chile. It could be in Mexico City.
Right.
Like, I think we've been having talkbacks, and I think a lot of people can relate to this play because everyone has had some experience like this, where either people are moving into your neighborhood or you're the people moving into a new place. And whether it be in urban or more spread out, but there's always a level of like, okay, who is this? Who are these people, and how do we relate to each other? As neighbors.
And then we should say that the writer is Guadalis?
Yeah.
Guadalis del Carmen.
Yes.
And she's the writer of the play. And then where can people get tickets? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then where's the
Right
theater
here.
at?
Yeah, yeah.
Where is that?
That's
We're on
because the
Division-
flyers do not tell me where the
flyers are a
theater
little
is at.
mysterious.
We know.
It's a very secret spot.
It's at
Very
20.
secret spot.
It's,
Speakeasy.
it's in between the flags. The huge flags. We
Yeah.
have
Two
on
big
the
steel
secret
flags.
knock.
So it's on Paseo Boricua, 2620.
Oh, there we go.
There it
There you
is.
go.
There we go.
2620
Nice.
West Division Street.
Yeah.
And then you'll
On Paseo Boricua. And tickets are www.urbantheaterchicago.org.
Yeah.
And you go on that website and you could get your tickets there. We
Yeah.
close on the 20th of this month.
Yep.
21st?
Just 3 more weeks.
Ah.
3 more
I'm not
weekends.
sure if that's-
Yeah, it's
That's
actually
right.
the 20th.
The 20th?
Yeah, it's the
Oh, that's-
20th.
So
Yeah,
the 20th.
Saturday the
20th.
20th is the last date.
Yeah,
Close
the
on the
21st is the secret performance that only like a couple people are.
No.
Oh, okay.
We can't talk about
No,
that one.
And but yeah, tickets are going fast, and we have these post discussions, and they're great discussions. I learn a lot about and from people coming in for the discussions.
So Miranda just gave us the address.
Right, 2620.
Yeah,
There it is,
2620.
right
Thank you,
there
Miranda.
for
Right,
you.
it's right off Rockwell near
Perfect.
a lot of great
Right next to
restaurants.
Cafe Colau. Yeah,
and-
Yes.
Cafe
Oh,
Colau.
yes.
So
Oh,
good,
yeah.
you
It's
guys.
like maybe a couple storefronts east of Cafe Colau.
But
Yeah, and I know there's like a gallery in between Cafe, right?
Yeah.
And isn't there
I
like a
think
little?
so, like with the doorknobs
Yeah.
and stuff.
And you know, across the street is the little plaza, the Don Pedro.
Yes.
The little
They have an
la casita de Don Pedro is
Pedro
right across the street.
Street.
And which
It's
is,
beautiful.
make it a day and just come check out
Yeah.
the community
And there's also like all sorts of specials, like the Sunday matinee has a special with
With
Nelly's, the brunch for $30. You can do brunch and the show, which is a really good
She's
deal.
sweet.
And Thursday also they have the El Faro is a
El
new
Faro.
restaurant that just opened
I've
up a
gone
couple
there. It's nice.
months ago. And they have a dinner package there. You get a dinner and a show for $30 there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And you're supporting local
Correct.
theater,
That's
Local
right.
which is very
businesses.
important to support local theater.
Right.
Definitely.
Oh,
Is this
Businesses.
kid friendly? Like,
I'd
what
say
age would
like
you recommend?
Age 13 and above.
Above?
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
13
Like,
and above.
there's some-
There's some F-bombs.
Yeah.
okay.
so
Not like 9-year-olds have not heard them before. But
Right.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. 13-year
Yeah.
would might
you
be
know,
better. Yeah.
parental
Yeah.
Guidance
discretion.
advised,
Yeah.
yeah.
The other thing to mention is this play is a commission by the theater that they're doing a whole season of plays written by native Chicagoans about Chicago.
Destinos?
No, well,
No,
that's
that's different.
that's
Festival.
that's
Oh,
also
those
it's
are
also
all
part of
the festival.
Destinos.
Yeah. Okay.
We opened up the Festival of Destino.
Yeah, but like Guadalis is from Chicago. She
Chicago.
grew up in near Humboldt Park.
Okay.
Miranda also grew up in Humboldt Park. Miranda Gonzalez, the artistic director, and Ivan Vega, the executive director,
Director,
right?
yeah.
And he was an actor as
co-founder.
well and co-founder. So the play is very much
Of here.
of here, yeah, and people from the community are coming, which is really lovely too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people have come also across state lines to come see it, which is really nice.
Yeah. It's almost therapeutic, I feel like, for
I
some people
think
in
so.
a sense.
Yeah.
You know?
And I look forward to doing it every weekend. You know,
Yeah.
Tomorrow we have matinees on Thursdays.
Okay.
For schools.
What time?
Local high schools, but the matinees are for high
Oh,
schools.
high school
Yeah,
only?
yeah.
Oh, high
10
school
o'clock.
students,
And
okay.
they've already set up.
And
but-
then Fridays, you guys are on, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
time?
And Thursday night too.
So
Yeah.
Thursday through Saturday is a 7:30 show.
Okay.
And then on Sunday the matinees at 3:00.
Okay.
Yeah.
So be there, be square.
Are you going to come see it?
Yes, of course. That's what I was asking. Because
I better see you there.
Yeah, because my daughter loves theater.
Oh, yeah, you
She
gotta bring
loves
them.
acting, but she's 9. So that's what I was asking. And I always ask, are they kid friendly?
She should come anyway.
Yeah, it's like I'll cover her ears. That's what I'll
Yeah,
do because she
yeah.
loves anything that has to do theater. We saw Peter Pan at Shakespeare this summer.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
But I have taken her to Theater Latino, and she loves it. So that's why I was asking. Because I think our kids need to be exposed to all sorts of
Yes.
theater and the arts. And,
And also just to see somebody like you. up
Yes,
there.
exactly.
It does, you know,
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
that's what I love seeing, that somebody of color can do the same thing. We took a past show over to Holyoke, Minnesota, and we did a little rehearsal, and they loved the rehearsals because they saw us mess up. And so then
Yeah.
they saw, wow, you know, you guys are perfect when you're gone, but we see it behind the scenes how you guys messed up and you fix it. And I love that experience. But yeah, as for young kids, you know, they need to see the most theater that they can, you know, just
Yes.
to know the difference of theater, what's good and what's bad. Somebody
Yeah.
told me that a long time ago. I said, well, I love all theater because to me, if you're going up there, then you're doing a good job. You're putting yourself out there. So
Yes.
how could I say no?
Right.
That's bad. But the mentor,
Miranda's saying.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
I was gonna say.
I said Minnesota, didn't I?
Yeah.
That Holyoke is Massachusetts.
It's Holyoke.
Miranda's
Okay.
watching.
But yeah, they need to see
I know.
that.
It's like, oh, I didn't know there's a Holyoke.
Oh, now I lost my train of thought there.
Yeah,
Like
like kids
seeing-
need to see.
Seeing ourselves and seeing Latino stories that theater doesn't just have to be Shakespeare
Right.
or
First voice,
you know, the European plays. Not to, you know, there's obviously Shakespeare's great and Oscar Wilde and all these writers are great, but we need to hear our own stories and stories of Latinos, of Puerto Ricans, of immigrants, of people struggling, working class people. So that's also
the more
very
you see, the more theater you see, the more you get to know, you get to realize what's good and what stands out. You know, what's used on it. Oh, I saw this. This was good, and what's bad theater. And just, I guess, because we have kids that come in at the art space and just help out, you know, and you get to just to help out with the props and setting up the props, the stage setting, so they could be a part of that too, just support.
Exactly. You know. Like if you ever want to see a play and you're like, oh, I can't afford it, even $20 can be a lot of money. So especially with smaller theaters, I do this in New York all the time. I find out, I'm like, can I usher? And that means you show up early and you help, you know, hand out programs or help people sit. And I know Yvonne has said that they're open to that too. Like, so there's ways to volunteer to help, and you learn so much when you do that. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, and I think it's important for, you know, white artists out there and white people to support, you know, artists of color.
Yeah,
and to
that's a good
support,
point.
you know, Latino theaters and art. I think, you know, white plays and, you know, theaters have controlled the dialogue for so long.
Right.
You know, I think it's really important now in this day and age, you know, to go out and see everything, you know, and literally, you know, support your fellow actors and actresses, you know, and people of color. And seriously, just take in as much as you can. I think some of the bigger theaters like Steppenwolf, Goodman have like programs for, you know, teens and college students, to go see shows. Definitely do that.
They have summer programs actually for the Goodman does for high school students, which is awesome.
Right?
So, what similarities do you have with your characters, or any similarities?
Well, I have a lot of similarities.
He's basically
I'm
Ray.
born and raised in Humboldt Park, and I am Ray. I mean, I'm so
Good to admit it.
as you can see. I mean,
He does have a flip
our
phone. That's his real phone. It's not a prop.
I just, you know, it's just hard for me to deal with the whole, it's just, whenever it has something to do on the internet, my daughters help me, and because I can't wrap my head around is actually one of the lines on it. And, but just being in the community, it gets, you know, sometimes I do get mad at just the way things are changing and just seeing where the ones people that are moving in just aren't a part of the community. So I see that all the time, and it kind of bothers me just where the whole sense of the community just kind of going away. But it's, again, as my character Ray, you know, I own a bodega, one of the last bodegas, and I finally have to, you know, deal with the environment changing around me, and I do that on a daily basis, you know. So that's fine.
Yeah. How are you, like a gentrifier, or what does Ricky say?
The colonizers.
Colonizers and cultural. Oh gosh, I'm blanking.
Well,
cultural.
I mean, and I've talked about this in talkbacks. I really hadn't hung around Humboldt Park until doing this show, and I'm Irish. I have a lot of cousins, and without even knowing it, I kind of saw the trajectory of gentrification through, you know, my cousins like moving to different places. You know, they first started moving to a Ukrainian village, and then they started moving to Wicker Park, and now they're going to Logan Square, and now a few are starting to like trickle down into Humboldt Park, and so I kind of definitely, you know, see that in Mark. I'm like, oh, you know, everyone's kind of flooding in. This is kind of the cool, you know, trendy new area. I would say one of the main things I see myself in Mark in is the curiosity. There are some parts of Mark where he has these moments of finding out about the neighborhood. We have a scene where Ray kind of shows me a little bit of himself and also just a little bit of part of the community. And, you know, Mark really takes that to heart. And I'm totally like that, where I love learning about new things, especially when it comes to Chicago history and, you know, different cultures in Chicago.
Because people have this perception of Division Street. We can't go over there.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
So I remember
go
a couple
past
of times
Western.
Seamus has told me that he's come by. He had a group of friends that came by, and then they went after the show to a local restaurant right down the block and had a great time.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, wow, that's great. I mean, you guys didn't just cut out right away. Let's get out of here. You know, no, they actually went to and had a great time. You know, and they came back with all kinds of stories, and they all loved it over there.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was so much fun.
I had fun at Pruquena too once. This guy started singing karaoke to me and this other woman, like in Spanish. I have it on video. I got to share it.
Do
it.
I'm always around Humboldt Park because that's one of my areas that that I work. So I love it, and I eat there all the time. And
I would love to say in terms of my character, like she is a badass and like grew up like beating people up and kind of a tomboy, and I guess I was a tomboy a little bit and like a bully in 3rd grade. I don't remember this, but I've been told. But with my best friend Sarah.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm more. People see me like more like a mellow kind of person, chill. But I love playing somebody that's just like
tough
I'm
Latina.
here, right? Exactly. I'm here to take care of business and get out of my way or get with my way. I guess. But also very much a good politician. She's trying hard to make things work, and that also is inspiring to me, even though she's facing a tough battle. But
You know, I want to also mention the name of the director. I think we
we haven't
mentioned
mentioned Sarah.
It's directed by Sarah Carranza,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to make sure we put that out there.
Yes.
Because
Because she's amazing.
She's done a wonderful
She's done
job.
a great job. Seriously.
Yeah.
And then one more time, let's tell our audience. Can we put up the flyer again so people that are joining us can see that
hoping for
where
the
they can get
close-up.
their tickets?
Do the little
Not
comment
for
thing.
sale. So
Boom.
Paseo Boricua.
Yes.
Be there.
Yeah.
So let's see. Production's gonna put up the flyer for us. So there we go,
Hey,
right
all
there.
Yeah.
Now, who was the artist for this design? It's pretty cool.
Oh,
What's
his-
See,
They should have the name.
I don't know his name, but he's actually a very well-known
Artist?
artist in Humboldt, but then also in Chicago.
You see that little
It's
the
a
window?
cat.
the little
The
chimp.
cat.
He does that.
It's the chimp,
all over.
right? It's like the
Oh.
chimp.
And so that artist that does that, I guess they commissioned him to do the flyer
Yeah.
poster.
That's a
Really
real.
nice.
That's across the street from the theater.
Yeah.
Right.
But he
Yeah.
has it also all over the place.
And that's
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
okay.
So it's the actual artist, and we
Yeah.
should know the name, but we don't.
Yeah. But really cool
We're-
stuff. I know
we're
like
so
Parlor Pizza that's on Division Way, in Wicker has like his design as their main menu.
Oh.
And I think there's a couple murals.
Yeah, it's a great one. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
very nice. It's very
Really
nicely
cool.
done.
Yeah.
So another question for the actors: do you ever take your character home? Like, sometimes you probably can't like shake it off, and
Yeah.
you're talking like him, walking like him or her.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you guys?
Totally,
I
yeah.
take him home all the time. But again, because
But
it's
but
such
you're
a
Ray,
close,
so
because
that's
it's such a close
Yeah.
character for me. But yeah, I mean, it's because it's fun, It's,
Yeah.
and even my wife, gets a kick out of it. But it only because it's this particular one. Maybe there are characters that you shouldn't.
Right.
But
Would not be
this
the
one-
Joker.
This one is fun, so it's just a great time doing it, and I don't mind taking him home, and neither does my
Yeah.
wife.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, at least for me, you kind of get lost in that world. Like whenever you're in a show, sometimes it's a fun part is to at least just be surrounded by it and kind of delve deep into that world. I mean, I think some good acting is there's always a little bit of you, a little kernel of truth that comes out, with your character. So,
And
yes.
there's always things that you're finding
Right.
that'll help it. But the good thing about doing this type of theater is that it doesn't finish just because you opened.
Right.
The directing,
Yeah. It's
you're
constant.
still finding stuff to make
Totally.
it new, fresher for yourself.
It's constant.
For this, and coming up with ideas or the energy to make it different this week.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you also come in from your day jobs, you come in
Right.
from the weekend feeling totally different. Like you as a person probably, maybe had a rough day. You still have to go out there and be, this character
Yeah.
that might be a little twinged here and there because you're current.
But you look forward to that. If
Yeah.
you had a bad
Yeah.
day, now you go to the theater and you could unwind and you could
Right.
get it all out.
Get lost in it.
Yeah, you can go into this other world. It's and it's so exciting when you're just like, I'm this person now, you
Right.
know, and I'm in this world and I'm reacting here, and then later on it's like, okay, now back to my world, and you know, but there's definitely things that overlap. I remember one time I did a role, and I remember at the last performance and showering, and it was like, I was so sad to say goodbye to this character, you know, and it was just like this really, it was kind of like I was shedding skin, you know. And so sometimes there is a sense of loss when you're saying goodbye to a role.
Oh, yeah. Because
It's tough.
you're not going to do it again, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
most times.
Most times.
Most
yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully we'll get to go on tour with the show.
maybe.
In
Yes.
Minnesota.
We'll go to Holyoke, Massachusetts.
I love Minnesota this time of year.
No.
Yeah. Hopefully not in January.
So, and then you guys were telling me about a technique that you do right before you start, right before we went on the air. What was that?
Yeah.
Vocal warm-ups.
Yeah, it's always good just for your diction on stage, so that you're heard properly, is to just work on your jaw and your tongue. And basically, we go through a bunch of exercises, kind of massaging the jaw, and then also doing some tongue twisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, should we do some tongue twisters? Is that what we want? Some tongue twisters. Yeah, like unique New York.
Unique New York.
New York's unique.
New York's unique.
You know you need
You know you need
unique New York.
unique New York.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, just depending on like what, because me, I always have a problem with my SH. So I'm always, as Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Right.
You know? So just things, you little, what is it? Just
Little habits.
Exercises, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
To whatever.
Gotta work out the
depending
kinks
on
a little
whatever
bit.
Yeah.
acting class you took, they might have their own little thing that they that you learn and you
Yes.
take it with you. You know.
Yeah.
And then you have different techniques too, because on stage it's different kind of acting than if you would act on TV or
Of
commercials and
course.
stuff.
Definitely.
That's
Right?
true.
So
Because
you
not
guys
only
Yeah.
is not only is your voice, but it's also your body.
Body,
you know,
yeah.
just look, you know, feeling comfortable, so you don't, on stage, and you know, you don't pull something or it's,
Right.
get a
Yeah.
cramp in
Right.
the middle of the
Yeah.
scene and
And it's live.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, you're
yeah.
constantly
Yeah.
interacting, you know, with people, and it can be totally different. You know,
Exactly.
one night to another.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a line is missed here, and so you can't be thrown off by that, and you got to keep going. It's
Improvise.
just listening.
Right. Yeah, you adapt
It's,
and
it's
keep
just
moving.
a constant listening.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically, because it's say one night your actor, your partner, scene partner or actor on stage, the opposite you is having loses a line, or you have to know what that line is and pick it up instead of having that
Right.
gap there.
Right.
Right.
Well,
The show must go on.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, it's true.
So there's exercises for that too that we do.
Yeah, mentiro.
Mentiro.
So now I'm going to ask you the questions that I ask towards the end of the show all the time. So the first one is,
Ivan.
what is
Yvonne,
inspiration to you? What's inspiration? Oh.
No inspiration. No, just kidding.
Or what inspires you?
Well, you know, the inspiration that I have is just to make sure that other, either the youth gets, they inspire me. You know, I do it mainly for that, for my family. You know, because I've been doing theater for such a long time. I took some time off, but they always, they were, some of them supported me, others didn't. But I wanted to. When I do theater now, it's just for them. You know, I invite them out. I pay for them to come out, and they see it. It's just for them to see what all these years, what I've been doing. This is why, and then they leave, and then they get it. Once they leave, okay, now I get it. Now I get why you're always missing at family parties or always missing, because there's a lot of rehearsal that goes involved
Yeah.
in it. You know, a lot of time away from your families, and I do it for that. You know, and the fact that we have these. Matinees for schools. Oh, I love that, you know, because sometimes they sit there with, you know, like in awe of watching you, and to see that, you're sparking something, you know, you're getting through one or two of them or all of them, hopefully all of them, and that's what I do it for, just for that inspiration of the youth and others.
I was gonna say, like Frankie, I get inspired a lot by the audience, who's there. Like if I know people there, sometimes it's nice not to know when your family or friends are there, but it's also wonderful when you're like you were describing, yes, like let's share this moment together.
Yeah, shared experiences,
you know?
with the family is great.
Exactly, and it's scary because you're like, oh my God, what if they don't like it? But then, you know, you just got to go for it, you know?
Yeah.
I get very inspired by good writing. So like, well, I didn't know this whole play when I auditioned. I just had a couple scenes that my character Nancy was in, and I really liked the scenes, and I was inspired by that. So I'm inspired by writing where there's interesting interactions between the characters, where there's like just something happening that is like a conflict or multiple layers. Like we talked about before, characters like strong women are very inspiring to me. Latina characters, Latinx, and just situations that we may have not seen before, theater that pushes boundaries. So even some pieces that I don't understand are also inspiring, because they're like, I don't want to read something and be like, or see something and think, oh, I know exactly how this is going to turn out, because that to me is not that inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by some random things like a really beautiful building or, you know, a really awesome burger.
Yeah, totally.
But I would
Jibarito.
say, yeah, jibarito. Oof,
Yeah.
man, oh man. But I would say people who give them their whole selves to something, and when they see something that they feel is wrong or something that's going on that maybe doesn't sit well, they speak out on it. And I think that's what I love about this play. You know, it's such a, we're going to take a mirror and show you what's going on, and we need to talk about this. You know, maybe we don't have the answers on gentrification, you know, but we're going to give you a lot of, you know, the reasons why it's happening, and you should talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, we should have that conversation.
Spark that conversation. Yeah.
Right, right. I think that's
Exactly.
really inspiring. Of like, you created something so that people can have this forum and truly talk about a problem that is happening now. You know, I think that's really
that
cool.
It's not going away either. It's
Not going away either. Right.
So.
And then
Right.
you guys
That's
open
huge.
up the forum for questions after the play, right?
Right.
Yeah.
How has that been? What has been your experience with that?
I've taken something away from it almost basically all the feedbacks or talkbacks. I mean, the audience sees something. One of the latest one was that a woman said that she loves the strong women, even though there's only 2 women
Right,
in the piece. But
exactly.
she loved the strong women because we have
That was really interesting.
in Ray's store we have the quinceañera dress, but that's the image of a woman. You know, that's there's women that within the piece that aren't seen, but they're always these strong women that are within it. And as far as just lines that are thrown from off stage, but that's a woman that's doing that, and she took that, you know. And I love things like that where they see something else that we didn't see,
Right.
and it
Yeah.
opens your
Right.
eyes to that.
Yeah.
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 Like, I think the first night, there was a woman who talked about her family house that got sold, and now it's, you know,
Yeah,
owned by
Jasmine.
somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, she talked about all the memories she had there, and now they're all gone. You
But
know?
she didn't say it. I mean, she said it very emotionally. I mean,
Right,
she
right.
broke
Moved by
down
it.
when she couldn't even get through that
Right.
conversation. And
Right.
there-
Yeah, that was
And what's
powerful.
nice is that a lot of people stay for the discussion. They don't, you know, you don't get half the house leaving. They
Right.
stick around because
Right.
it's
They want to
Awesome.
talk about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they see it, they're like, all right, I need
Yeah.
to get this off my chest.
I also, like, even on days we haven't had talkbacks, I had some family friends come and they were like, oh, you reminded me of this politician friend we know. And, like, just people's individual reactions, too, are very exciting, whether in the talkback or not. And we have a scene that's a town hall. And the same lady who mentioned being inspired by the strong women, like when I said, thoughts in favor and against, I won't say what it was, and she was like, against, you know, and she like reacted, and that was wonderful, like just like to just have people reacting in the moment.
Because I was having a little trouble, well, not trouble, but just dealing with my character, you know, early on. But and I believe it was Seamus's father that came in, and I didn't know at the time that it was his father. But he kept.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like you.
My character's name is Ray, and he really was like, but what about Ray? Or why is he doing this? Or why is he doing that? And it made me realize, wow, he really.
He was really affected by it.
Affected by Ray or Ray's decision. So it made me realize, wow, this guy is important. This guy really is. So it made me
only the
realize,
main character.
it helped me get that character together because people were seeing things in Ray that I wasn't seeing. So it really it helped for me that talk back, that particular talk back.
Well, to me, when I see plays and I go out to plays, it's like I get emotionally invested in it because I'm crying, I'm laughing, and then I'll take that for a couple of days and I'll be like, oh my God, that was such a wonderful play. And I'll repeat, I have one of my good friends, he comes with me all the time, and I'll call him and I'm like, and I'm still thinking about so-and-so. Oh my God, what happened to them? So
That was a good play.
I know, I usually get so wrapped up in the play, and I think you as characters, you do as well, and that's why the people, the audience connects.
Yeah.
And and you have that connection, and I don't know, I'm that person.
There's a universality.
Yeah.
Where we see ourselves in these characters, like, oh my gosh, like what if I was, losing my home, or oh my gosh, like what if this happened to me? I would be heartbroken. It's putting people in other shoes.
Yes.
And finding them for yourself.
People that has happened to. Like, there's probably a lot of people that this has happened to them, where they've lost their home for just not being able to, to be born and raised in a community, but then can't live in your community.
Right.
That's very hard for people to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have a few more minutes. One more time, let's tell our audience where they could get the tickets. Can we put the flyer up again?
Yeah.
Let's put the flyer up again. We've been talking this whole time about Not for Sale. If
Not
you're
for
just joining us,
Sale.
By Guadalis del Carmen,
Directed by
Sara
Sara
Carranza.
Carranza, produced by
Yes.
Urban Theater of Chicago.
2620 West Division Street.
Between Rockwell and
No, Western and
California
We're at Division and Paseo Boricua, in between the flags.
Yes.
in between the flags.
And
so
you can go to the website.
get your tickets because they're going fast.
They are.
So they are on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes, correct.
So, and then you could get something to eat because there's tons of
Tons of
great
great
restaurants in that area.
That is
Man, oh,
correct.
man.
I
Oh
know
my God.
because I work in that area.
Yeah.
Okay, so now one of my questions that I also ask is, what advice do you have for that young actor or actress that's watching us right now?
Well, for me, I would say it's like maybe you might be the only one that sees that vision, and it might just be you. Because I remember with my family, I was supported by a lot of my cousins, but my immediate family, they were more interested in me making money to be secure. But and so there wasn't that vision. I mean, the vision was mine, all mine. So don't let anybody just deter that. You have that vision, and it might just be you that has that vision. But just keep going for that dream, and of course you have to do something every day to get towards that dream. Either it's like volunteering at a theater, or seeing as much as you can, seeing what's out there, using the internet for all this stuff. But yeah, don't let any that vision just might be yours, but then later on it'll be it'll benefit you later on.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go next. I got advice as a teenager from an actor I really respect, Bernie Back. And I was like, hey, like what, advice could you give me? And he was like, live your life, because the stuff that you're going to take from your life is going to affect your acting. You're going to bring more to the table as an actor if you yourself have gone through some of these experiences, to kind of bring that human factor, to a lot of these things. And I think, taking in as much content as you can, see all those movies that you really want to see, read, all these books, dabble in writing. Maybe you're not the writer, but dabble in a little bit. I think continually sparking that creativity, whether it is, traveling to a city, and taking that, or, going out and hanging out with your friends, just living and taking it all
and
in.
as an actor, I just confidence. I remember getting that from there was a musician that has a great voice, and I tried to sing a little bit. And I said, "So what do you do? I mean, how do you throw that voice? How do you?" And he just told me confidence. I said, "No, that's not telling me anything. I mean, I want to know what exercises you do." He goes, confidence.
Confidence.
And I get it now. I get it. If you have confidence, then you have it all.
Right.
And I would say too, like, this is connected to everything that you guys have been saying. But it's like, trust yourself and
You're good enough.
Yeah, like this business is sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be like this, or I have to look this way.
Right.
If I'm Latina, I gotta look like Jennifer Lopez or whatever, and like, no, just be yourself. Because oftentimes the richness that we have individually is just in ourselves. Like, and you as a person have so much. Look at your family, look at your parents, like there's so much there. You don't have to go try to, I need to be like Chris Rock, or I need to be like Fulano aquí, or Laurie Metcalf, or, who find the strengths in your own personality and your own culture and create your own work, I think.
Flaunt it.
And and enjoy it.
Enjoy it, for sure.
Well, we had Tamika saying hello to Frankie, and then she loved the cast. My mouse died. Great timing,
good.
mouse. What does it say? Carmina Che, what? Worth me this Friday to the show.
Great.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We'll be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll show up Friday.
Sure. We'll go this Friday. Well, I'd like to thank you guys for being here
Thank you
tonight
so much for
and Al
having us.
Ritmo
It was
Del
fun,
Arte.
yeah.
Thank you guys.
I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
That was
fun.
fun.
It is.
Yeah, next time we'll gossip about other people and
It's
stuff.
always fun to do and talk about what you love.
Yes, it is. And it's
Yeah.
always easy. So the show's
Yeah,
meant
it
to
is.
be
That's
more of
true.
a chat and talk about your passion, because this is
Right,
your
right.
passion and you want people to know about it. And we want more people to go to Latino theater too. So
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
spread the word.
Oh,
Sure.
and this is also part of a Destinos festival. There's
That's
a
right.
lot of international and
And I
more
think
local shows going
We
on.
have the flyer. Can we put the flyer of Destinos up?
Myrna Salazar, who's head of that whole thing, she was my agent back in the day. She was an agent back.
Oh.
That's
She
what I
had
heard.
Myrna
Yeah, like-
Salazar and Navas she had at one time. And she was the first Puerto Rican queen. For the,
No way.
the first Puerto Rican queen for the Puerto Rican parade.
Oh my
There we have the
gosh.
flyer.
There we go.
Destinos
Yeah.
till November 4th. You could
Go to
go on
plata.org.
Facebook and
Check it out.
There's a
and
lot of good stuff.
A lot of
Oh, they're bringing in some nice groups.
There's a Mexican company now doing this interesting play inspired by Macbeth. There's all sorts of
Yeah,
groups
I'm
happening.
So
excited.
support Latino theater. And gracias por estar con nosotros esta noche. Thank you so much. Thank you guys.
Gracias.
you.
I'll see you soon.
All
Yeah.
right.
See you
And-
Friday.
Yeah, and
the theater.
please share the show. That way we get more people involved, more people who come see the play.
Yeah.
And then we have one more ad for Comic-Con. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will be in Comic-Con next weekend
that sounds
as
all
well.
right.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting, yeah.
We love Comic-Con.
Yeah.
That
Sweet.
So
sounds
we're
fun.
gonna
I wanna
be
go.
there and hope to see some of you there as well. There it is, Comic-Con.
Ooh,
that's nice.
Yeah, October 12th, 13, and 14. So we will be there.
Nice.
Oh, Yvonne wrote, thank you for having our crew on her.
Oh, anytime. My pleasure. My pleasure.
So cool.
All right. Thank you. Buenas noches. Nos
Buenas
vemos.
noches.
Bye, buenas noches.
Adiós.
Te veo. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.